It is a common complaint in modern dating. The stable, healthy partner feels boring, while the chaotic, unpredictable one brings an irresistible spark. We frequently mistake that anxiety for romantic chemistry. That pursuit of the spark leads to a wide spectrum of relationship dysfunction. It often starts subtly, like staying with someone simply because they need fixing, or because their emotional unavailability creates a familiar challenge. But that same behavior scales into severe extremes. Millions of young people experience adolescent relationship abuse, and rates of intimate partner violence remain staggeringly high, particularly for young women and marginalized communities. Chasing that unpredictable high is not the pursuit of true love. It is an active seeking of emotional danger, disguised as passion. It is tempting to blame a toxic partner for failing to provide a safe, loving environment. Yet, clinical therapists trace the root of these destructive dynamics back to a very specific internal mechanism. They call it self-abandonment. This is the act of shrinking, warping, and twisting yourself into a human pretzel in a desperate attempt to secure love and approval from someone else. When we operate this way, we create an impossible dynamic. We demand our partners regulate the uncomfortable emotions and validate the self-worth that we refuse to give ourselves. A toxic dynamic rarely begins with a bad partner alone. It starts the moment we sacrifice our authentic selves to keep them around. To see where this behavior begins, we look at developmental relationship science. Our internal template for love and connection is constructed during early childhood. If a child grows up with emotionally unavailable or misattuned caregivers, they do not have the cognitive ability to blame the adults. Instead, they internalize that lack of connection as evidence of their own unworthiness. This creates what clinical researchers like Dr. Brené Brown identify as toxic shame. It is the deeply ingrained fear that we are inherently flawed and not good enough to be loved as we are. To survive this environment, they suppress their true needs. They become chronic caretakers and perform for affection, successfully pretzeling themselves to secure whatever love is available. These childhood emotional survival tactics do not disappear when we grow up. They become the invisible, destructive blueprint for how we navigate every adult relationship. We carry this blueprint straight into our teenage years. Adolescence is the critical developmental window where these childhood templates are either actively rewritten through new, healthy experiences or permanently cemented. When young people are not taught how to identify and reshape these maladaptive beliefs, the results are devastating. It leads directly to the cyclical patterns of dating violence and toxicity we see so frequently. This illustrates a neurological trap. Our nervous system seeks out what is familiar, even if it is unsafe. An emotionally unavailable partner feels like home because they trigger our fear of abandonment. Our brain then short-circuits, misinterpreting panic as passion. We are biologically wired to repeat our childhood trauma. To break the cycle, we have to consciously learn how to interrupt those false signals in the nervous system. You cannot rewire a biological trauma response simply by standing in front of a mirror and reciting cognitive affirmations. Telling yourself you are worthy does not change your physical wiring. True, mature love requires retaining your individual self and holding firm boundaries rather than fusing with someone else to escape your own toxic shame. This structure outlines the 4 components required to rebuild self-worth: self-esteem, self-love, self-respect, and self-trust. The most critical of these is self-trust. This is not a mental construct. It is the physical, somatic ability to tune into your body and accurately read its internal signals. True self-worth cannot be thought into existence from the neck up. It has to be physically embodied from the ground up by trusting what your body is telling you. Reading those signals means learning the difference between trauma and truth. Trauma usually manifests as physical tension, a shrinking or contracting in your chest. Truth, however, feels peaceful, open, and expansive. Somatic mindfulness and meditation provide the practical tools to quiet the external noise so you can actually hear these internal physical cues. You can practice this daily. Sit in silence, take a deep breath, and present yourself with 2 simple options, like choosing between 2 different books. Feel for your body's physical yes in the form of expansion or no as a contraction. Repeatedly listening to those true signals and choosing to act in your own best interest slowly begins to rebuild your self-trust. When you finally learn to trust your body and stop abandoning yourself, you break the generational cycle of toxic relationships. You ensure that healthy, mature love becomes your only acceptable standard.